gotten wiser.
Say something in West Virginia.
I can't quite speak that language yet, but I'm getting close. Senator Hirono.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that Senator King noted how important it is for us to deal in this space with climate change, because I agree that the insurance industry certainly has gotten it. When you can't afford homeowners insurance because of the need to cover the results of extreme climate disasters, including, I have to say, wildfires, which is what Maui experienced, then at least we have one major industry that has said we need to deal with climate change, and thank you for agreeing that that's something we have to do. So I'm interested in the importance of clean energy goals. Mr. Galtzmeyer, the analysis firm S&P Global recently released a study on data center power demand that concluded, quote, many of the large technology companies and private equity groups that own and manage data centers have pledged to use green power electricity for their needs, and we expect renewables to ultimately supply a majority of the incremental supply to the facilities, end quote. Can you elaborate on Micron's renewable energy commitments and the role they played in locating new plants Micron is building with the help of the CHIPS and Science Act?
Yeah, so at Micron, we've committed by the end of 2025 to be 100% renewable on our factories in the United States and elsewhere in the world where available. Fortunately, you look at Idaho and New York, the availability of renewables, there was a play. The other thing that we were looking at is entering into co-op solar projects like we did with Idaho Power with the Black Mesa project, which was 40 megawatt project. In addition to that, we'd be looking at additional PPAs or renewable energy credits purchased as well to hit those goals.
So how much of the falling costs of renewable power contribute to Micron setting its energy goals?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How much did the falling costs of renewable power play into Micron setting its energy goals? I think green energy.
Yeah, obviously we look at the cost of energy, and we're in a cost-sensitive business, so we want to continue to drive that and be effective. And fortunately, in the U.S., you can get renewable energy credits. You can look at renewables that are effective today. However, if there's not more generation added onto the grid with the amount of demand that we're talking about, the cost of energy would rise and create problems. So then you'd run into availability issues, reliability issues, and those are the things that we would like to avoid through change here with transmission and additional generation of multiple sources coming online. So solar, wind, battery technology to enable those to be more effective, geothermal, we've talked about nuclear with the small modular reactors, and other investments that could be done to continue down that path to meet all of the goals that we're looking for.
So I think you are an example of a private company that pays attention to these issues. For Mr. Falk, you described how new data centers could require 3 to 15 times as much power as a more typical industrial plant. Do you think states and utilities should require data centers with such a new demand for power to install energy storage on site in order to shake back their demand for power from the grid at periods of peak demand?
I think that's an interesting commentary, and it's something we need to look into. I mean, traditionally, and I refer to my colleague, data centers are backed up because of the importance of making sure you have backup power. But I think increasingly, as we look around, I think data centers are more open to doing exactly what you described. I also would want to call to your attention the data center tariff that we filed in Ohio, recognizing that this extraordinary growth needs to be funded fairly by the data centers and not cost shifting to other consumers. We think it's a critically important first step as we move forward with the data center demand we see from the data.
I agree. Mr. Gulsmeyer, do you have a comment on this question?
Unfortunately, right now, we have power conditioning coming into our site, but we don't have any cogeneration or large power backup that could, sustain us through a reliability event. So in the case of a reliability issue, we would see power implication that would impact our production in a negative way.
I have run out of time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.